this podcast is summarized to, where I'm strongly suggesting that chatbot could be your first thing, but don't let it be the last one. Please be cautious about how you are dealing with data first, and then start thinking about AI and make data the highest priority for now. That's why I see that the data engineering, data scientist, data analyst, all of those roles are very much important, and they will become more and more important in any organization because that's where the real truth resides. Hi, today we are going to discuss a very important topic around AI, which is AI beyond the chatbots. Majority of the organizations, when they are trying to create any kind of AI initiative, then it always starts with a chatbot. While AI can be started with chatbots, chatbot is a very surface level integration of AI, but it's really not a very depth of AI. So if you look at it closely, people want to implement their chatbots on their website or apps or their customer support, but that is all surface level. So let me break this to you that AI is not chatbots. Chatbots is like a basic part of AI strategy, but it is not like your real AI strategy. That's not how it goes. So if you think about this, then majority of the times the leadership, what they have in their mind is we want to have some kind of an AI initiative going on into our organization. The product owners wants to implement certain things in their AI initiatives. And your investors are also going to say, what is your AI roadmap? So if you look at all of these things, every time there is a conversation around AI, what we as human beings feel easy to do is something called a chatbot. So that's how we implement chatbot into our system. And chatbot makes it very easy to implement. It is demonstrable. It is faster to build. And it is something that is very much predominantly visible to the audience. So it actually gives the ability for somebody to say that, yes, we have done some kind of initiatives on AI, but that is just surface level. That really doesn't tell you exactly what AI is all about. So in that case, what exactly is the problem? Why do most organizations stop at chatbot? They start at chatbot and then they stop at chatbot. Why does that happen? That happens because a lot of times the underlying issue is something that nobody even talks about. So the underlying issue is the data. So when you have like 20 different tools that your organization is using, so there could be a CRM where your sales team, your marketing team is using, there could be a different HRMS system, there could be an ERP. All of them are different kinds of software, and they do not communicate with each other. So there is no data centralization, and the data is constantly having troublesome because they are scattered across the place. And because of that, there is no single source of truth. So chatbot seems to be an easy way out of it, but it is not the real solution to the problem that you are trying to solve. So if the chatbots are the only thing that you are building, that is because your data is not mature. So there is obviously that there is a fear, right? That what if my data starts telling me the wrong answers? Or what if my data is not mature and my AI starts giving me hallucinated responses or wrong responses? Or what if the decision making taken by the AI tool or feature that we have built, that feature itself is no longer valid? What happens in those cases? And that is the most fearful thing to even think about for an organization or the leadership of the organization. And because of this major reason, nobody wants to go beyond a certain point when it comes to building chatbots or having different kinds of AI initiatives. So how do we counter this? The way you counter that is by making sure that the single source of truth has to be there. So all of these systems, that could be like 20 different systems, but they have to communicate with each other. They have to have certain kind of context with each other. And only by making sure of that, you can have a baseline of all your data. Now, your data can be quality data or the data can be quantity data, but let's make no mistake, if you have a CRM going on and there are like 10 years old data into your CRM, but nobody filled up all the information within that CRM, then there is data, but the data doesn't have good quality. So cleaning up that data is going to be the next task, and then so on with all the other tools. And once you create all of those tools, then you can start creating the baseline around your data. So if you don't have the right data, your AI is not going to work. So rather than asking yourself, what is the next AI feature that I want to really build within my organization, what you should be asking is, how can we create our AI foundation? So that is one of the major areas that you really need to look into. And data maturity is very much important. So in order for you to achieve your AI maturity, you have to have data maturity. That's where the game starts. And then you can keep going with that. So now think about it this way. You want to ride an F1 car, but you are trying to ride that car with half fuel and half water. It's not going to be impactful. It's not going to be true. It's not going to be even something that is digestible for anybody, right? So similarly, if you are able to mature your data and you can go in that direction, then automatically you're building an amazing foundation for your AI features to go forward. And that becomes your AI foundation. Now, once your data is mature, once everything is done, right, how do you then start creating the AI journey? So AI journey, as far as I understand, can be defined into 4 different areas. One is obviously the chatbot. The second one is insights on analytics. Third could be your workflow automations. And the fourth one could be your autonomous intelligence. So we already know a lot about chatbots. I'm not going to talk about that, but we will definitely be talking about the insights or the analysis, right? So if you have given all the different data pointers into a single platform, you have integrated everything, all of the data is contextual, then your analytics will be able to tell you that, oh, your product's churn rate is going to be high in next 6 months by at least 15%. So then you know what your analysis is telling you. It automatically gives you all of those inputs. It can also tell you that if you send out an email to your customers in next 48 hours, their chances of getting the upgradation is going to increase. So you can try that, and based on what you are going to get out of it, that accomplishments are also going to be noted into your data. So eventually you will be able to understand how your insights can be very much driven by the right amount of data and artificial intelligence combined. Now, the next thing is, while you are doing all of these different tasks, so for example, for a service industry or for a product industry, you are onboarding a lot of different customers. And after that, you are doing certain checklist, which you finish, and then the customer is onboarded. So what if AI is able to automate all of those processes, create your instances, create your, another organization if there is a SaaS application or something, and all of that is done automatically without having to have any kind of intervention. You could have a lot of different organizational structures that can be automated. So but you have to have the right data around it. You have to know that this is how the overall process goes. For example, in service industry, there is a customer who is onboarded. Then the production team needs to be notified of that. There has to be the post-sales team has to be notified of that. There could be different kinds of knowledge transfer sessions that happen, and so on and so forth. So autonomous system around that could really create the workflow automation and make sure that all the stakeholders are onboarded, they are communicating with each other, and all of that is logged somewhere. That is the next part. Now, the third part, which is the most important part, is AI's, kind of autonomous intelligence. So that happens when AI starts to anticipate certain things. So autonomous intelligence means that your e-commerce website, for example, the e-commerce website is able to anticipate exactly what your customers are going to buy from you. Their buying is going to increase in certain times, their buying is going to reduce in certain times, your inventory levels are going to be lower by certain date. It automatically starts to anticipate that I'll have to reorder. So all of those areas for an e-commerce industry is going to be very important, and that can only be achieved when you have all the data across the board throughout the different platforms, including your customer support. All of that is combined into one single area where that becomes your source of truth. So if you think about it carefully, then AI and organizations adopting into AI, that is currently limited to a drastic extent towards just the chatbots or some kind of knowledge bases or some kind of automated Slack messages or something along those lines. It is happening only because there is no roadmap, and nobody has created that roadmap by creating the data maturity and the foundation of data, having those tools communicate with each other towards that data. And that is the most important aspect of it that I feel that every single company has to implement. So that's what this podcast is summarized to, where I'm strongly suggesting that chatbot could be your first thing, but don't let it be the last one. And I am strongly suggesting you to look into your data, what the data is telling you, whether it is quality data or not. Ontologically, also, you can look at your data. For example, if you're trying to, do something, your data is completely from US market, you are trying to have a go-to-market strategy for India or for any other country, then is your data telling you everything about your go-to-market strategy in those countries, or is your data biased towards US data? And that current data cannot be derived into the new ontological system that you are trying to go into. So please be cautious about how you are dealing with data first, and then start thinking about AI, and make data the highest priority for now. And that's why I see that the data engineering, data scientist, data analyst, all of those roles are very much important, and they will become more and more important in any organization, because that's where the real truth resides. So thank you so much for listening to us for today's session, which is AI Beyond the Bots. Hope you found it helpful. Thank you. Hey guys, hope you are enjoying all the different kinds of content and the library that we are coming up with around AI with this amazing podcast called Next. We have been getting a lot of love, but we would love for you to like and subscribe to our content. Thank you so much for being so appreciative, and thank you for supporting the channel.